You're listening to The Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, and back after about 3 weeks. Hi, I'm John David Wells. Welcome to the Wells Report. This for Monday, February 12th, year of our Lord 2024. Yeah, so I've been gone for about 3 weeks. I've been on Texas State Guard duty, which is not guard duty. It was actually something that was pretty amazing, and I'm all dinged up. I've got pieces of my face and hands and legs missing. This is not because of any kind of combat thing, except of course combat with my old age. I want to spend a couple of seconds. We've got some serious news coming up here in just a couple of seconds, but I do want to tell you where I have been for the last 3 weeks. I've been at Search and Rescue School. It is SAR School for the Texas State Guard. It was actually a mistake that I went. Because I was volunteering for something else, which I'm not going to talk about, but I was going to volunteer for something else. And that something else indeed happened, except that in the meantime, during the time we were doing that something else, they were doing Search and Rescue School. Search and Rescue School is for younger people. And I have, because of the team of people, and that's the main reason why I want to tell you this story. The team of people that I was privileged to serve with during the school helped me move through some very difficult things. We did a 3-mile ruck hike that was at really fast pace, and we did a physical fitness test, which I passed on sheer will. But we also went out into the weeds and were chased by various people using various means. And that was a workout and a half, and we did all of that stuff, and helping me through all of it were the cream of the crop of Texas State Guardsmen. SAR Class 24-01. I'm proud of myself, but it's not about me. I am incredibly proud that I had the opportunity to serve with these soldiers. They know who they are. I don't know whether they're going to be watching, but they do know who they are, and I am indebted to them. If there was a theme song for my graduation from SAR School 2401, it would be Getting By with a Little Help from My Friends. It's one of the great statements of teamwork. You go together as a team. You can succeed beyond the individual through collective effort. Teamwork. And because of them, I became the oldest guy to ever graduate Texas State Guard Search and Rescue School. But I hurt now. So just wanted to let you know where I had been for the last 3 weeks. And hopefully I'll begin healing in a few days. It's going to take a while for people to heal from what happened at a popular Texas megachurch, specifically Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church. A woman walked into the church yesterday afternoon with a long gun and a child. She opened fire. She was killed by law enforcement officers on the scene, providing security for the church. The gunfire left a child in critical condition. Another man has been injured, this being reported by CNN. The woman is estimated to be, or was estimated to be, between 30 and 35 years old. She entered the church shortly before 2 p.m. Wearing a trench coat and a backpack, she opened fire, according to Houston Police Chief Troy Finner. This in a Sunday afternoon news conference. The shooter died at the scene after 2 law enforcement officers intervened, and she was shot. The young child was hit during the shooting. This is not the one apparently that she brought in with her, but it could have been. I don't know at this particular moment. It's unclear who fired the shot that injured the child, so it may have been the child that she brought with her that indeed was shot. This being said, there's advertising. Excuse me, I'm not talking about advertising. There's indeed some coverage of this that we want to bring to you here, and we're going to get it to you. This from CBS in Houston, Texas, with a superb report on it, and we're going to bring that to you right this very minute on the Wells Report.
Well, the primary focus all day today after 2 o'clock, after all this happened, Doug, who and why. This woman walked in here, according to authorities, and opened fire, plain and simple, and could have hurt a lot of people. Unfortunately, there was one child who is critically injured. As you mentioned, that woman is dead. One other person also hit with this gunfire. It sent many of the congregants that were here inside Lakewood, and you know there are hundreds, if not thousands, who are typically here. Many of them sent running as a result of this gunfire. This is actual footage we saw this evening. Crime scene analysts, Houston police, DPS officials, all still inside this mega church this evening. They were obviously still working this scene, trying to process it, but no word from them late this evening on really sort of any updated information. We know that woman opened fire quickly, and she walked through this entrance here, apparently hiding a long gun under a coat. Many people actually have seen on social media by now the postings of hearing that gunfire as they were starting a Spanish service here. This was just after 2 o'clock this afternoon. Houston's police chief describing the attack as one that had potential for more devastation. Woman walking to this sanctuary with a little boy. This child was 5 years of age, we are told. 2 licensed peace officers working as church security, one with Houston police, the other an ATF agent. They returned fire.
She entered the building. She was armed with a long rifle and a trench coat with a backpack, accompanied by a small child, approximately 4 to 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point she began to fire. Both officers, the officer and agent, engaged, striking the female. She's deceased here on the scene. Unfortunately, the 5-year-old kid was hit and is in critical condition.
We don't understand why these things happen, but we know God's in control, and we're going to pray for that little 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased.
The world knows the face of Joel Osteen, and today he had to face the rest of the world with something that has happened far too often in too many other places. This time at the entrance door here at Lakewood. No official information regarding the identity of this woman. All we were told, they believe she to be 30 to 35 years of age and had that 5-year-old little boy with her and a backpack and again that long gun. There was at least one other individual again who was inside. We were told hit in the hip or the leg. We believe to be a congregant here. No serious injuries for anyone else. And obviously, police and authorities here continue their investigation, hopefully to update exactly why this woman came here and prevented and created this kind of carnage emotionally and physically for so many.
Steve Pickett doing a superb job on that report from CBS 11 in Houston, Texas. This is obviously a huge tragedy and something that we are all watching with a great care. What was fascinating to me is that even though it has been a while, it has been not quite 24 hours, but even though it's been a while, we still don't have very much information regarding this particular woman and this kind of thing. The gunfire unfolded while the church was in between services, preparing to go into a Spanish service, reports CNN. The shooting is just the latest instance of gun violence disrupting American life at places once considered safe. This one was at a place of worship. There have been others, including right down the road here in Fort Worth, Texas. Others have been at schools, grocery stores, outlet malls, hospitals, college campuses, and house parties. The woman entered the church accompanied by a child who Finner estimated to be between 4 and 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point, she began to fire. 2 off-duty officers present, a 28-year-old Houston Police Department official, and with an agent with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, both with less than 5 years of service. Now, that has been reported by other sources as being from the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. That could have been the situation, but there is a little confusion here. At some point, we'll harden that up. But what fascinates me is we still don't know anything about the woman. We still don't know anything about the child. We don't know anything about the weapons used. We don't know much at all, except that there was a shooting at Joel Osteen's church yesterday, and the shooter is gone, and apparently the child she brought with her was caught in the crossfire and ended up being wounded as well and is in critical condition. There's some updated information here. The shooters used an AR-15 that had Free Palestine written on it. This, according to a federal law enforcement source. Investigators are trying to sort out whether she was politically motivated or a disturbed individual, according to the source. I want to commend these officers. She had a long gun. It could have been a lot worse, said Chief Finner, but they stepped up and they did their job. I want to thank them for that. Both officers who engaged with the shooters will be placed on administrative duty pending the investigation, as is the protocol with officer-involved shootings, according to Chief Finner. It's traumatic not only for the community, but certainly traumatic for the officers who had to take a life, and we worry about their mental health as well. So our prayers are with them. So, Free Palestine, you cannot draw a whole bunch of conclusions from that, and we will not on this broadcast. We can say that if indeed this woman was motivated by what is happening half a world away between Palestinians and Israelis, that this is something that many of us have feared that we were going to see on our own shores, as many Palestinians and many Israelis are expatriates of those countries and regions and do in fact live here in the United States. We are not going to import that fight into our nation. Let the word go from this time and place that if you try to pull off some of that stuff here, regardless of your politics, regardless of what you're up to, your life will very likely end very quickly, because it's not like you're going up against defenseless people. This is America. Americans are able to defend themselves, and we do, especially in Texas. This is something that's happened before. There have been Arabian radicals, Muslim radicals that have come to this particular area here, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. They were having a cartoon contest where the image of the Prophet Muhammad of the Muslim religion was going to be sketched out. And this is something deeply offensive to Muslims. And so a couple of Muslims from Arizona, of all places, decided to drive all the way to Texas and come and essentially shoot up that particular cartooning event, which indeed, that's deeply offensive to Muslims. I understand all that, right up to the point where you start getting weapons and go out there and try to shoot people for doing it. The interesting thing about that is that there was an off-duty Dallas police officer who took out both of them with a revolver. And that was the end of that. So like I said, let the word go from this time and place. The United States is not a battleground for people who are angry that people go to the wrong church or occupy the wrong land, quote unquote. And so we're not going to have it here. So don't do it here. Unless, of course, you just lack the guts to kill yourself. This is the Wells Report, back after 3 weeks of pain. I am John David Wells. We are going to cover the Super Bowl. If you have any thoughts on this particular thing, and also if you have any thoughts on the fact that while it is wild speculation that this woman may have been a Palestinian, What are your thoughts on that? Give us a call. We'll be back with more in a moment on the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. Thank you very much for joining us. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. And this shooting at the church in Houston, the Lakewood Church, which is run by Joel Osteen, has pretty much shaken things here in Texas. This boy that we're talking about, critically injured, is someone we still don't know much about. We don't know the nature of his injuries. We don't know his relationship with the woman who opened fire at the Lakewood Church. She entered the church just before 2 p.m. between services. Had she been there during a service, it could have been maximally worse. She wore a trench coat. She was carrying a backpack. She entered the Lakewood Church, among the largest congregations in the world. They see like 45,000 people every weekend here in the United States. She came with a boy of about 4 or 5 years old, according to Chief Troy Finner of the Houston Police Department. This from the New York Times. 2 off-duty law enforcement officers opened fire, which once again reinforces the idea that a good guy with a gun will take out a bad person with a gun, if indeed that comes to fruition. The boy was shot. It's unclear by whom. He was in critical condition at the hospital. The man in his 50s who was shot in the leg, hospitalized in stable condition. The woman who was described by officials as being in her 30s also threatened she had a bomb and appeared to have sprayed an unidentified substance on the ground. The authorities did not find any explosives. We still don't know what that substance was, if anything. She had a long gun. It could have been a lot worse, said Chief Finner. The shooting took place as a Spanish language service was about to begin. The church, which is attended by 45,000 people every week, draws an even larger audience for Mr. Osteen's sermons online and on television. Videos posted to the church social media appeared to show congregants standing and cheering earlier as a band played on stage. Another showed Mr. Osteen, the son of Lakewood's founder, and took over the church in 1999, addressing the congregants. Mr. Osteen is one of the country's best-known preachers in the prosperity gospel movement, which teaches that God materially rewards people who are faithful to him. His sermons are known for being simple, upbeat, and bordering on self-help. Mr. Osteen said, "I'm in a fog, but we are going to stay strong. There are forces of evil, but the forces of God are stronger than that." The church's website said yesterday evening the regularly scheduled online service had been canceled. Dell Davis is 71. His wife, Denise, were inside the church making their way out as Mr. Davis said he heard gunfire. An avid gun collector and retired paramedic, he said he could tell immediately they were gunshots. "I know gunshots. When I hear them, I could smell the gun smoke." He said his wife, who are volunteers of the church, fled as the crowd scattered. "It's always full," he said, of the services at the church. Another eyewitness told television station KHOU in Houston that she was inside the church when she heard several gunshots, saw a person holding a firearm. She said she ran into a smaller room where she sheltered with about 10 other people, including a child. We were thankful," said the woman of KHOU. "It could have been a lot worse." Yes, it could have been a lot worse. But fortunately, there were people there to stop it. And this is something that we all must consider, if not do something about. I've said this over and over and over again. If you believe you are capable of carrying a firearm, please do. Not for the sake of your ego, not for the sake of anything beyond trying to protect your neighbors. Because that is the mission that you accept when you go through the things that I and countless other people have done to carry a weapon with them everywhere they go. And so, as we come to this particular discussion on this particular day, all we can say is that thankfully, there were people there who had trained themselves, indeed professionally trained themselves, to be able to take care of the flock when the wolf came calling. That's exactly what happened yesterday afternoon. And indeed, they took care of it. This is the Wells Report. Our telephone number, 817-379-2172. There was a football game yesterday of minor import. I don't know if you heard about it or not, but we're going to go ahead and cover the Chiefs' win in the Super Bowl as we continue on this Monday afternoon. Give us a buzz. Join our chat room. We would love to have you. We'll be back with more of this broadcast in just a moment as we continue for Monday.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
This is the Wells Report. Good morning. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. Thanks for joining us. Give us a call. Tell us what you think. Did you watch the game yesterday? I watched the game yesterday. And for those people that have, I don't know who this would be because everybody in the world stops what they're doing and watches the Super Bowl just about. But the Super Bowl games are not necessarily the most entertaining football games played during the year. And it's because the two teams involved are the very best football teams of the year. And they do amazing work that is solely surrounded stopping the other team from doing anything. And these two teams were balanced in being able to stop each other for most of the game. There were some mistakes, one on each side. There was an interception thrown by the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course there was a muffed punt return or a punt catch that probably cost the game for the San Francisco 49ers. Started out as a tense game of grinding offenses and tight defenses, exploded into a thriller. It happened last night in Las Vegas. The Kansas City Chiefs emerged victorious, defeating the San Francisco 49ers on the back of all-world quarterback Patrick Mahomes. That guy knows how to win. That guy knows how to win Super Bowl games. He just does. And he is, by the way, was named the Super Bowl MVP. When the game was on the line, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes called his own number, making two huge plays with his legs before slinging the touchdown pass for an overtime victory. It was tight. I mean, this game went all the way into overtime because these two, as I said, were superbly matched football teams, and they knew exactly what they were doing, especially where each other was concerned. Here is the final moment of the game in overtime last night in Las Vegas.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
And this was the Andy Reid special. This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
And they win it by 3 on this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
Jim, I want you to know this was an incredible call. What they did, Andy Reid right here, and Mahomes' eyes holding people inside. You cannot look at Mahomes' eyes. Watch this right here. Pause that. Right there. See this motion? As soon as that happens, Ward's eyes go to the next guy inside. And at that point, he's out leveraged.
Yeah, and that's the way it works. And that's why those guys make an awful lot of money doing what they do, which is to coach football teams into amazing wins. It was fascinating. You heard about Mecole Hardman rather. He said he blacked out. He caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime of Super Bowl 58. On the final play, the fifth-year receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs motioned toward the offensive line before pirouetting back to the right, as Tony Romo, former Dallas quarterback, was talking about. He motioned toward the offensive line before pirouetting back to the right, looking back at quarterback Patrick Mahomes in the snap. It put the defender in a position where he had to choose between two people to defend. He chose the wrong one. Mecole Hardman was wide open, and Patrick Mahomes hit him. The three-time Super Bowl MVP delivered a quick pass. Hardman gathered the ball and headed toward the pylon for a short 3-yard score that will be long remembered as the play that cemented KC, Kansas City, as the NFL's newest dynasty. However, Hardman didn't much know what was going on. Quote, "I knew I was going to get the ball, caught the football, and I blacked out. I'm not going to lie, I blacked out. I saw Pat running toward me, and I'm thinking, oh, we just won. I understand now, and after that, the rest is history." I know exactly what he's talking about. He was doing his job, and his concentration was so great that he caught the football and ran into the end zone. But I bet you he wasn't necessarily aware of anything besides catching the ball and turning into the end zone. And I'm pretty sure he probably didn't even realize that it was the end zone, because that kind of stuff happens. I mean, it's happened to me on a couple of different occasions. I was playing a softball game once, and I was playing third base, and the bases were loaded, and the batter turned and hit a line drive that took me to third base. I caught it backhand, stepped on third base, threw it to first base, and caught the runner. That was an unassisted triple play, and I was just trotting off the diamond, and the first baseman had this incredible look on his face, and he goes, "Do you know what you just did?" I go, "What?" I had no idea. I just did the play. So first out from the batter, the I caught the runner off third, and I put it over on first base and caught the runner off first. And so, but I know what he's talking about, where all of a sudden you're just not there. You just, but you do your job. It's not like you're gone. It's just like your concentration is such that you just don't think about that stuff. And so I was amazed at that. McCole Hardman, who started his year with the Jets, ends up with the Kansas City Chiefs and wins the game. So yeah, he kind of sort of blacked out. There were some other things that a lot of people have been talking about, and I guess we probably ought to talk about it as well. And that has to do with, well, some of the other things here. Let me see if I can find this real fast. That's the win. Let's see. That's something we're going to play a little bit later on. Those are some ads that we have. Yeah. So let me go ahead and talk to you about this. Taylor Swift. Okay, so Taylor Swift has a romance going on with Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce is an amazing football player, et cetera, et cetera. And she has shown up at games throughout the season because they're kind of warm for each other's forms. And that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. It's been played out in the public, and with the incredible popularity of Taylor Swift. Obviously, when you got Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, you're going to spend some time looking at Taylor Swift and what she's up to. Now, there are an awful lot of people that are looking at this cynically and saying, because Tony Romo was saying that Andy Reid on this particular game-winning play faked a motion, which is where, yeah. But some people have turned that into faked emotion for what they saw Taylor Swift doing in the owner's box last night, and CBS's constant referral to her as the game went on. It was amazing. I started keeping track, and that's one. I don't know whether that was the first one, but that's definitely one where she's drinking something. So here's one play, and back to Taylor Swift. And I don't know whether she's acting or whether she's actually that's two. Okay, so here's yet another play. That's three times that Taylor Swift was on screen. And let's see. So Taylor, this is one of Mahomes' runs, which was brilliant. They note that the defense really didn't hit him. That's four. That's four times. I found 10. I stopped counting at 10. So let's see. And this is for her man, Travis Kelce, who hurt his arm there. He tried to fake it. He said, that's 5. Okay, so that's 5. And so this is after something that's 6. Okay, this is Taylor and her buddies. And they're all jumping around. I think the blonde is a former cheerleader. Old cheerleaders never die. So what is it? We're up to 6 now? Is that what we're doing here? And so there's Travis Kelce again. And of course, what are you going to see? Taylor Swift. That's 7. So we got 7. and Mahomes is saying that's 8. Okay. And she's chewing on the world's most expensive manicure. I don't know what she's doing there. So that's 8 so far. And these, by the way, I don't know who compiled these. There's Kelce again. So, of course, we're going to see Taylor Swift. Absolutely. So that's 9. Okay. So we're up to 9. This is, and like I said, I stopped counting at 10. So once again, there's 10. And now the game is slowly unwinding. Should be called the Swift Bowl, I guess. So we got 10, and there's Mahomes with his other big run of the day. And here's Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's 11. Yeah, being held by the cheerleader. That's wonderful. Okay, and this would be the final game. Okay, this is the final. And Taylor Swift, as she celebrates with everybody in the world in the box. She's in there somewhere. So that's 11. So I think I got all of them. But then there are a couple of others. Let's see. I think there's one. Yeah, there are a couple of others. And then she started kissing Travis Kelce. And once again, you try to figure out whether or not this is all real. Was she indeed expressing real love, or was she doing a public relations moment? I don't know. I prefer to believe that they actually care about each other a tremendous amount. I would certainly hope that that would be the case, but I'm not sure. You know, I mean, is this, and I think this is a commentary on where we stand as a society. We have been misled so much by so many things. It starts with our media. It starts with the spin of politics on everything, to the point where it's just infuriating to listen to these people yapping all the time and telling us what we should think and trying to mislead us away from the truth. And that happens over and over and over again. Well, this is one of the things that you get from this. What you end up with is hey, wait a minute. You know, what's the real truth of all of this? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, is this just a play? Let me see what I got here. No, that's the other one that I just played. No, is this just some kind of a public relations fantasy that we're seeing here? And we don't know because we can't trust anything that we're told. Now, that's what I think. Do you think that's true? Do you think we're in a situation where we are so manipulated and we are so misinformed that we start transferring that misinformation into nobody believes anything that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Really? You know, is she just playing the moment? Does she need to? She's one of the most popular worldwide music artists in history. She just took down her 4th Album of the Year Grammy Award. Does she need to have the publicity of showing up at the Super Bowl? Does she need to have the publicity of following around one of the game's superstar athletes? So obviously you could say, no, she doesn't need any of those things. So maybe she's actually warm for his form. Maybe she actually loves him. Maybe she actually says, I mean, this is from a woman, by the way, who has made a fortune. I mean, more than a fortune. She's probably knocking on the door of being a billionaireette. And she's done that by writing songs about bad choices she's made choosing men. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you know, Taylor Swift is, she sings about a lot of real bad choices. Now, I don't think this is a bad choice. She's tall. She's beautiful. She looks good with Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is not one of those guys that's the most attractive dude on the planet, but he is an athlete. He is gigantic. He is a beast, right? He says in what is called in the public relations or fashion world as having offbeat good looks. And so Travis Kelce, they look good together. And, you know, they would, if they got together, got married, had kids, they would give birth to titans. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But and I wish them nothing but success. But I think the thing that's important is that you're going to hear about all these people just with cynical expressions on their face talking about, oh, this is just garbage. That's all garbage. And so you have your right to believe that. But why do we feel that way? I think it's because we've been lied to too much. You think that holds a little bit of, you think that might hold a little bit of truth in it right there? That we've been lied to so much we don't believe what our own eyes show us? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172 is our telephone number. And we'd love to have you use it. So by all means, please do. Now, one of the other things about the Super Bowl is Super Bowl ads. And these advertisements are really, really cool in most cases. Some work, some don't. There was this attempted rehabilitation ad from Bud Light. And I'll tell you what I think about that. You may have heard what other people think, but I'll tell you what I think coming up in just a couple of moments. Again, our telephone number, 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Let's see. Anybody notice that the first San Francisco touchdown should have been called back because of an illegal man downfield? Yeah, we noticed that, and we'll talk about that as we continue. This is the Wells Report. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. It's the 12th day of February, year of our Lord 2024. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Howdy. This is the Wells Report. I am John David Wells. Thanks very much for joining us. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. And so there were Super Bowl ads that were always kind of a tradition in the Super Bowl. They are very creative, sometimes genuinely funny, very, very good. CNN put together a montage and has this commentary for the Super Bowl ads from yesterday.
Sorry, party's canceled. Waiting on the cable internet guy. Tell him, Zach.
First, I had cable.
Scrubs co-stars Zach Braff and Donald Faison team up with Jason Momoa for a musical T-Mobile ad.
I need home internet from T-Mobile to fulfill my life.
Nice ride.
It's the real deal. 100% electric.
It's the real deal.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken promotes BMW with this tongue-in-cheek commercial called Talkin' Like Walkin'.
Careful, it's hot.
Leftover chicken, scallions, cheese. What am I going to make with this? Mayo.
Kate McKinnon gets suggestions from Mayo Cat to flavor up her leftovers by putting in Hellmann's mayonnaise.
Want to go pound some milk and rip up my couch?
So every little detail about our family will be on TV?
Who would watch that?
All right, let me twist on it.
Cream on the left will do the show.
Kris Jenner takes us back in time and uses an Oreo to decide if the Kardashian family should do a TV show.
Well, you know what they say, in order to remember something, you got to forget something else. Make a little room.
And Uber Eats releases a memorable set of star-studded ads.
Paprika Girls?
No, that's absurd.
Jen. Hey.
Hi.
Okay.
Can we not?
Yeah, that was funny. David Schwimmer. David Schwimmer was a guy who obviously starred with his friend's castmate, and you know, she said, "You got to forget something in order to." Yeah, okay. So anyway, that was it. The Bud Light ad. The Bud Light ad was supposed to be this attempt to rehabilitate the entire beer brand, and I looked at it and went, "Nope." And it's not something that was going to change anybody's mind. What it is to me is it's just the first high profile commercial that was going to try to rehabilitate the brand. And once again, a huge marketing mistake, an absolute huge marketing mistake on the part of Anheuser-Busch. And it's really cost them a lot. It's cost them billions of dollars. And so not even the Super Bowl could help them out, but they probably should have done something else. I was reminded of an ad campaign for Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box was this burger chain, mainly in Southern California, that decided to franchise and go across the country. It's a good hamburger. They do have good food. They really do. And they had this rather ridiculous Jack in the Box character. Okay, it was funny looking, and they decided that it was anachronistic. They decided it was a bad idea, and so the marketing gods got rid of the Jack in the Box of Jack for all intents and purposes, and sales fell through the floor because nobody knew what they were advertising. It was like they were advertising something brand new, and nobody knew what it was. And so people stopped going to Jack in the Box. They're going, what happened? Well, they brought back Jack instead of this time as a two-dimensional, just a drawing. They brought him back as a three-dimensional, very tall, very snarky male character whose first act on the commercial was to blow up the advertising team that got rid of him in the first place. Literally exploded them. Now, that probably wouldn't happen in the post-terror world, which is where we all live. But that being said, that was, and it may have been at a Super Bowl, that ad changed the fortunes of the entire franchise of Jack in the Box. And it was witty, and it was funny, and it was really good, and it poked fun at the mistake they made. Now, how does Budweiser do that? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to admit it, right? Basically, what I probably would have done was I would have had a Clydesdale kick the advertising campaign creators that mangled Bud Light. I'd have one of the horses kick him in the butt and have him fly across into something or other, into a dumpster. Let's put it that way, okay? That's what I would have done. You know, as if the horse was smarter than those people. And not to mention the fact that it would be one horse's ass taking care of another horse's ass. Get my drift? That would be something that I think probably would have worked. But they didn't pay me for that, and I didn't send it to them in a note. I said, hey, why don't you try this, blah, 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 blah. So if you do see it on television, remember, you heard it first on the 12th day of February, year of our Lord 2024, okay? Have one of the Clydesdales kick the advertising campaign creator in the butt into a dumpster. Something along that line. Develop the idea. And if you do, don't send me a couple of cases of Bud Light, okay? Don't do it. Send me a check. Send me a check and I'll go buy some Angry Orchard, which is what I drink now. So I mean, you know, you make mistakes. Sometimes you fix them, and sometimes you have to pay for them forever. Something tells me that the latter is in play here. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells, thanking you once again for being with us. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. I've been gone for 3 weeks. I'm back now. So make sure that you hit the notification button so you know we're on the air. Hour number 2 of this broadcast is next.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either.
I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Hey, thanks for joining us this morning for the Wells Report, and make sure you share us with all your friends on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Patreon, and don't forget to check out our Substack column, which will be coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. When you do all this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us those thumbs up. They are really important. Check the notification box so you know when we're on the air, and whatever you do, join us every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time, for the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. My name is John David Wells. Thanks very much for joining us. What do we do on this broadcast? So glad you asked. We report the news, honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. In other words, we de-propagandize the mainstream media. We're good at it, in fact. We do make commentary. That's not news. And we differentiate between news and commentary on this broadcast because commentary is opinion, not just mine, but yours as well. And so we debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. It is the Wells Report. You can debate with us on the chat room. We've got a lot of people doing that, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Michelle Larrabee showed up and welcomed me back from a 3-week assignment. Poker Monkey is back. Randy Rockmore. Good to have you here, Rock. John Roz, my dear friend and fellow soldier from the Texas State Guard. Ken Lynch. Let's see. Anhoy Guzman has also joined us. Michelle Larrabee has made the scene, and we appreciate that. Gary Olivier is happy that I'm back. Yeah, poor Jack. Yeah, Jack, we were talking about the Jack in the Box commercials. You know, they tried to rehab. We were talking about Super Bowl commercials here over the weekend. And there were good ones and there were bad ones. The Bud Light one was worthless. They did not get their money's worth at all. They spent something like $7 million for it. I mean, are you serious? $14 million, something along that line? I mean, millions of dollars to add to the billions of dollars lost because of the ridiculous burn down the house Bud Light commercial that tried to feature woke politics instead of good beer. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that being said, like I said, there were good ones and there were bad ones. Because I happen to be a fan of the movie series Deadpool, and because Ryan Reynolds is hysterical to me, and indeed has come up with, yet another great movie, and this is Deadpool 3. This was played yesterday during the Super Bowl. Hope you like it.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, okay. It's been a challenging few years, for sure, but I'm happy. That is because of each and every one of you. I'm the luckiest man alive.
Make a wish, buddy.
Wade Wilson? Who's asking? Whoa, 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 whoa. Is that supposed to be scary? Pegging isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney.
Mr. Wilson, you appear to have soiled yourself while unconscious.
I wasn't unconscious. Who are you? Why am I here?
Walk with me.
Wait.
You are special. This is your chance to be a hero among heroes.
I smell what you're stepping in, Sensei. Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever. I'm the Messiah. I am Marvel Jesus.
Oh my God! God, I love this part. Wait!
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That movie franchise is magnificent. It really is. And I realize I probably started off with the wrong ad to play because it's really kind of anticlimactic after that. But there were some very good ones. You all saw the ones that were put together by the people that were trying to tell you whether the ads were good or not. But there was this one that sort of shown something on the Super Bowl that I had not seen before, which were local ads making a national impact. As a matter of fact, this is a guy who is running for office in Ohio who has, shall we say, an interesting past that he referenced in his campaign ad.
Look at me now, recruits. My name is Tim O'Hara, and I was a Marine drill instructor for years. I've never seen anything more useless than a career politician. Massive inflation? Open borders? I guess the wall does work there, Private Rhino. I've seen Biden move faster. Let's go. I'm Tim O'Hara, and I approve this message. In Congress, I'll whip the swamp into shape. Understand?
Yes, don't Dr. O'Hara, sir!
Tim O'Hara for Congress.
Yeah, that was a great ad. It was very well done, and I thought it was very impressive. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yeah. Oh, this was an amazing surprise. And has a fascinating background to it. Check this out. You were watching the game, peacefully minding your own business, watching the game. This is not a local ad. This is a national ad put together by a political super PAC. And it was like, what am I watching? Well, here is what I was watching.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do?
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
American Value 2024 is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
This was simply a brilliant ad. It was brilliant. And I'm kind of perplexed by the reaction to it, okay? It was put together by a super PAC that supports, obviously, RFK. Well, RFK apparently didn't know much about it. And because he didn't know much about it, came out with something that is in the news today. This from Fox News, in fact. A super PAC aligned with independent presidential candidate Robert Kennedy dropped a surprise commercial during the Super Bowl yesterday, eliciting mixed reactions from viewers. American Values 2024 ran the 30-second ad for $7 million. The clip is a throwback to an ad used by his uncle Former President John F. Kennedy in the 1960 presidential campaign. The ad replaced JFK's face with that of RFK and implored viewers to vote independent. The panicked D.C. power brokers are working overtime to keep Kennedy off the ballot because they know he can and will end their culture of greed and corruption, said American Values 2024 co-founder Tony Lyons. They offer us soaring inflation, forever wars, chronic disease. RFK Jr. offers us real change along with freedom, trust, and hope. Like his uncle and his father, Kennedy is a corruption fighter, and it's no wonder the DNC is trying every trick in the book and inventing new ones, both old and new, to try to stop him. The public sees through all this and won't stand for it. Let's see. Google Trends showed searches for RFK Jr. skyrocketing after the ad aired. Now, there were mixed reactions. One ex-user implored Robert not to give us during the halftime, to which someone responded, "The commercial is better than the halftime performance." Another ex-user wrote, "They were struggling to process how this makes me feel in awe of who we used to be as a country and as a people, while also feeling sick at who we've become and how far we've strayed." Wow, that's a great statement. The ad comes after the DNC accused RFK Jr.'s presidential campaign of illegally coordinating with American Values 2024. What do you mean illegally coordinating? More about that in a minute. The DNC filed a complaint with the Federal Elections Commission alleging that Kennedy's campaign received $15 million worth of unlawful in-kind contributions from the super PAC to help him secure ballot access as an independent candidate in several states. RFK's campaign is flouting campaign finance law by outsourcing a critical campaign function, the collection of signatures required to appear on the ballot, to an outside super PAC that is funded by Donald Trump's top donor this cycle. This scheme between American Values 2024 and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign requires significant and plainly illegal coordination to the tune of $15 million in-kind contributions, said DNC senior advisor Mary Beth Cahill in a statement. A Kennedy campaign spokesman told Fox News allegations were, quote, a non-issue being raised by a partisan political entity that seems to be increasingly concerned with its own candidate and viability. Kennedy initially sought to challenge President Biden in the 2024 Democrat primary race as a Democrat, but they wouldn't have anything to do with that. And so they said, go away. Strangely, they didn't do that with Bernie Sanders. What they did was they essentially corrupted their entire primary process in 2020 to get rid of Bernie Sanders, who is a fake socialist, but avows socialism nonetheless. RFK, not good enough for the DNC. RFK Jr. is not good enough to be a candidate for the Democrat National Committee. And that is the problem. So RFK does this, or actually American Values does this. And the DNC is saying, foul, foul, foul. You can't do this, you can't do that, and we're going to file suit and blah, 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 blah. You didn't do the right thing in the first place. You should have had RFK and Joe Biden running together, but you can't, can you? Because you think, respectfully, I don't normally call presidents eggplants, but I have since the get-go here. Because I said in 2020 that the DNC are patting themselves on the back for being able to get an eggplant elected. You know, they said, my goodness, we can get anybody elected we want to. Well, congratulations, you did. And now we have an eggplant running, or supposedly running, what's going on in the country. Now, I'm not slapping around the president of the United States. Everybody gets old and you lose parts of your brain. It happens. Not to me, of course. I mean, I never had those parts that I'm missing anyway. So, but I'm not castigating the president. I'm castigating the people that made him president. And yeah, that goes to the American voters who voted for him, because you didn't vote for Joe Biden. You voted for a faceless mob in the background running the show, didn't you? You have no idea what those people are, who those people are, and what they're up to, because they didn't have to campaign. They got Joe Biden to campaign, and he's the figurehead, but he's not running the show. He can barely walk up a flight of stairs. He can't make a speech. How is he going to debate with RFK Jr.? The answer is he cannot. Because the gibberish that would fly out of that guy's mouth would end his aspirations immediately. As a matter of fact, it might be too late for all of that. While I was gone, Robert Hur came up with a report regarding the handling of classified materials by Joe Biden and said that he was too old and infirm to stand trial. If he's too old and infirm to stand trial, he's too old and infirm to be the president of the United States. That was the end right there. So RFK's ad, I thought that was brilliant. And by the way, the president did make an appearance at the Super Bowl, and we'll be talking about that coming up in just a couple of seconds as we continue here on this Monday. This is the 12th day of February here on the Wells Report. Stay right where you are. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either.
I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Telephone number is 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. What are the top political issues in the nation? Well, the border, immigration, the budget deficit, the American standing in the world with regards to being able to keep people from trying to kill each other. You know, things like the Middle East, Ukraine, etc. The economy is a mess. Even though, and I said it was a bad idea, they decided to label federal economic policy as Bidenomics. Oops. It's their Bud Light moment, I guess. And so the President of the United States, with regards to the Super Bowl, had the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of his predecessors and enjoy a 2 or 3 minute interview for the game, or to be played during the game. He said no. Why? Because the man can't communicate. I mean, I am not a doctor. I have not examined the president. Wouldn't necessarily be able to add anything, except I do have some experience in both dementia and aphasia. And I'm seeing both here. That's just me. I'm an amateur. But the president did make an appearance during the Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl ad, if you will. He made an appearance, and of all the things that the president could have talked about, he decided to choose this one. Please explain this to me, if you can.
Super Bowl Sunday. If you're anything like me, you like to be surrounded by a snack or two while watching the big game. You know, when buying snacks for the game, you might have noticed one thing. Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging you just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Some companies are trying to pull a fast one by shrinking the products little by little and hoping you won't notice. Give me a break. The American public is tired of being played for suckers. I'm calling on companies to put a stop to this. Let's make sure businesses do the right thing now.
Shrinkflation? Really? So not only is the president infirm, cannot debate, cannot make a speech without blowing it, can't do any of these things. He is neck deep in his own age-related malfunction. But his staff doesn't know what to have him talk about. Shrinkflation? Really? During the Super Bowl. Shrinkflation. Blaming what is a market reaction to inflation, which is to not raise your prices, but give out fewer of what people pay for, shrinkflation. That's how you react to an inflationary spiral. It's not an inflationary spiral. It's been actually spiraling down, but it's still 3% and change more than it should be. Inflation, and that's just overall inflation. Inflation regarding individual things like foodstuffs, off the charts. And the president decides to try to blame the actual marketeers for what is their reaction to bad government policy. I do not know where this president is going to end up in this particular election year. I mean, certainly in the campaign. But I cannot believe that the American people would even consider electing President Biden again. He can't do the job. He can barely do the job of being himself. And I spotted it, and I talked about it long before anybody else did, because I watched those things and was immediately said, well, you're just an anti-Biden. You're a terrible partisan. You're one of those right-wing jerks. You. No, not me. No, this is the president we have. But for how much longer? And who follows him? This is the Wells Report.
nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either.
I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
This is the Wells Report. I am John David Wells. Thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast today. I have returned. For the last 3 weeks, I was on assignment with the Texas State Guard. I volunteered for one assignment and found out that there was another assignment that went with the original assignment, which was which was something that I had always wanted to do, which was search and rescue school. As you know, I'm one of those guys that, likes to, I'm kind of a lifeguard sort of dude. I like being a sheepdog. And so I wanted to take search and rescue. Anyway, search and rescue is a young man's game. I don't know whether you've noticed it or not, but I don't necessarily fit into that category or not, but I managed to graduate the class. And in order to graduate the class, I had to do some physical things that were things I had not prepared for physically. My physical fitness test, which wasn't really that difficult, but still was tough enough to force me into I will drag myself through this mode. Not because of my own personal aggrandizement, but because what I found in that search and rescue class was a group of individuals that I didn't want to let down. I've served with brilliant members of the Texas State Guard in my time. And before I go any further, anything that I say about the Texas State Guard, truly and totally my own opinion, has nothing to do with Texas State Guard policy or the policies of the Texas Military Department. I am solely responsible for what I say regarding the work I do as a Texas State Guardsman. Anyway, I worked with brilliant people in the Texas State Guard. But I've never been able to work with anybody that inspired me so much as my teammates, my classmates in Search and Rescue School 2401. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. If you missed it, it's in the first hour. But like I said, I've been gone for 3 weeks. And the physical aspirations that you have to, or the physical realities that you have to deal with in search and rescue school are not for the faint of heart. Running around in Texas in the middle of the night, for example, being chased by various entities and trying to catch up with various entities is, like I said, not for the faint of heart. And I managed to hold my end of the bargain up quite well. But I wouldn't have been able to do it had I not been inspired by these amazing Texas State Guardsmen that I went to class with. If there was a theme song for my efforts in this class, it would be Getting By with a Little Help from My Friends, but that's the nature of teamwork. Collective effort. I love those people in that class. They made sure I passed. They did. And because of their efforts, and mine, I have become the oldest man to graduate from the search and rescue school offered by the Texas State Guard. And I didn't get there on a pass. Chief Watts, who was running the school, Sergeant Major Kovar, Sergeant Major Bloor, Rocky Garza, Sergeant First Class Rocky Garza, Master Sergeant John Rios, all those guys. They weren't gonna give me a pass on any of this. And so I had to work my way through it. And Gary goes, ready? Exercise. No. I got back on Friday and I spent a couple of days just relaxing. I'm still kind of ganned up and I got holes I got holes in my face. It's like I wore eye protection. Because, when you're running through Texas, and I'm not talking about civilized Texas, I'm talking about Texas, in the middle of the night, you're going to walk into tree branches and stuff. And boy, did I ever. I fell into a patch of cactus. I have holes in my legs and my hands. I literally fell down. I only fell down once, by the way. And this one was kind of a a flyer. It was a one-off. I stepped on this round log that happened to give way underneath my feet, and it was on a slant, and I fell down. So I put my hands down into cactus. And so I was picking cactus spines out of my hands and the tops of my legs. And so I'm pulling these cactus spines for the rest, and we were out for hours. We were out in the middle of the night for 3 separate nights for hours. And I was picking these spines out. I mean, and the thing about it was they were stuck in my gloves, right? So every time I grabbed something, I got stabbed again. And you see this little hole right here? This one right here. Can you see that? Is it possible to see there? There's a little dot there, okay? Yeah. I went out one night because I forgot my gloves. So I went out without my gloves. I figured no big deal. I got tough hands. Well, I got this little nick, right? And it was painful because, it got infected and it hurt. And then when I fell into the cactus, guess what happened? One of the cactus spines went right into the same hole. I'm going, ow. And Private Rios, Private Estevez looked at me and goes, they looked at me both at the same time, stop whining. Yes, I'll stop whining. Stop whining. Oh, God. And so I pulled these spines out of my hands. But we're learning how to find people who are lost. And not just lost from a standpoint of where they are on the map, but lost. These people do God's work. And I am not a member of any of the units that actually go out and do that, because while the standards of the SAR school are tough, the standards of SAR units are even tougher. And I don't know that I can make it, but we'll see. So anyway, made it through the school, and with the help of my schoolmates. And I'll never forget them, because without them, I would have been a guy that failed SAR school instead of the oldest guy to ever pass it. So there's people that have been watching the show here. Let's see, Anne. We were talking about the president and some of the things that were going on. Let's see. Has anybody else noticed that was San Francisco? She came back. Let's see. We were talking about the parts of the brain that Joe Biden is missing, and I naturally referenced the parts of the brain that I'm missing. And Jessica Hamilton Kennedy, because she teaches her kids at home, she's a homeschooling mom, said, "You're missing the math part of your brain, right, JD?" Yeah. I'm actually going to do something about it. I am. Val Dior, the world's greatest news person. Honestly. She says, "I think Nikki Haley will completely flip and run against Trump for the Democrat Party. I think she might be a presidential candidate or a vice presidential candidate for the No Labels Party." But yeah, there are going to be a couple of third-party challenges. And the Democrat Party, they got to figure out what to do. They got to figure out what to do with RFK. Because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a huge threat. Let's see what else. Ann said, I referenced Ann, she said, "President Biden has not done the job from the beginning. I want to know who is actually the real president." Yeah, me too. Because those people weren't elected. They're running the country, and they were not elected. That's not the way we do things in America. Now, to a degree, there are people behind the president that help him make decisions. But Joe Biden isn't being aided in making decisions. There are people making decisions for him. How do we know that's true? Well, when the defense secretary, by the way, Lloyd Austin, is back in the hospital again, there's something wrong going there. Our thoughts and prayers and hopes for a full recovery for Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin intensified today when we found out he went back to the hospital. He's in serious pain. He is in serious pain. What happened? Somebody needs to help that poor man. All right. So anyway, when he became sick the first time and went to have some surgery, they didn't even bother telling the president. They didn't even bother. Did they tell the people that were running the country? Sure. But who are those people? Well, we don't know. We don't know. So, Ann, you make a great point. Gary Abshire says, welcome back, JD. And Jessica says, thanks for taking care of us. I do my best. I do my best. But I did discover in the SAR class that I'm better from here up than I am from here down. I probably could have had an easier time of it had I been able to prepare. But once again, I didn't realize I was going to a SAR school. I got swept into a SAR school completely by accident and just dragged myself through it. It was all up here. And because I had great help. It was just amazing. Let's see. Welcome back, JD, says Mike. Appreciate it. Yvonne says, oh my God, I almost sprayed my screen. So glad you were okay. Yeah, well, falling into a cactus, don't do it. Remember, I'm a professional. Don't try this yourself at home. Please. Yeah, let's see. What else? Yeah, Jessica is a homeschooling machine. Yes, she is. She could probably teach me math. She's, let's see, what an interesting Trump RFK ticket might be. Probably not going to happen. I've been thinking about who President Trump's running mate ought to be. And frankly, it ought to be Ron DeSantis. That would be a ticket. There would be people that would be able to point at, old white guys running the show again, but it makes sense. Ron DeSantis, it's probably going to be a Trump DeSantis ticket. I think it should be. I think that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Manchin ought to run as a ticket for the No Labels Party, but that would take Joe Biden completely out of the 2024 election. Same thing with, say, for example, Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. and the No Labels ticket. And as Val Dior, the world's greatest newscaster. I just looked down from Cowboy, who said that Lloyd Austin has prostate cancer. Yes, I'm sure he does. But anyway, the world's greatest newscaster, Val Dior, says that she believes that Nikki Haley is going to run as a Democrat. Well, maybe. She certainly uses Democrat talking points. I mean, so anyway, as we look at all this, let's see. Cancer. He's in pain. He hurts. I don't know how advanced that cancer was, but whatever it is, there you go. One last thing regarding the Super Bowl that we need to discuss, and that had to do with this idea that in order to conquer something, you first have to divide it. The classic rule of war of divide and conquer is being practiced against the American people at every level possible. Divide us between genders, divide us between sexes. In other words, men, women, old, young, black, white, and every other thing. They try to divide us. And the black-white division was intensified yesterday because of something called the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's known as the Black National Anthem. This is something that's relatively new. It came to the American consciousness about a year and a half ago. Andra Day performed it at the Super Bowl. And there is a Tennessee congressman, somebody that is essentially a race-baiting snot, in my personal opinion, is Steve Cohen. He is a Democrat from Tennessee, right? So what he said was very, very few stood for, quote, lift every voice and sing, unquote, said Representative Stephen Cohen, writing on X. Quote, he then went on to say this, quote, the Negro National Anthem, not a pretty picture of Super Bowl crowd, unquote. Cohen represents a majority black district in Western Tennessee. The Negro National Anthem. Yeah, I know that Steve Cohen wasn't he may have been born in the 60s, but he didn't live during the 60s. But he sounded like a Southern Democrat there. An old Southern racist Democrat there. And that's disgusting. Very few people stood at the Super Bowl for the Black National Anthem. That's because it's not the national anthem. It's not the Black National Anthem either. Just as the inscription at the base of the Statue of Liberty is not government, it's not government policy. gives you your poor, you're tired, et cetera, et cetera. And so, a Super Bowl descends into politics in several different ways when it should be a football game. But that just tells you how far our entire society has degenerated into a political plaything. Gary says it best. There's only one national anthem. That's true. The rest of it is just a simple attempt at dividing the people of the United States. The colors are red, white, and blue. Not black and white. Not yellow, not red. People are people. E pluribus unum. Under the banner of the United States. The national anthem. The trappings of the greatest country in the history of the human endeavor. This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more coming up in just a couple of moments. Thanks very much for being with us. Stay where you are.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Yeah, Gary Absher says divide and conquer, pitting football fans against Swifties. I don't know. I was talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and their romance and whether or not people believe it's real. And I don't know whether it is or isn't, but what I'm interested in is why people would think that it isn't. In other words, the cynical interpretation of what they see on television. Well, it's because there's been a constant din of cynical interpretation of what we've seen on television, in the newspapers, in everything we do forever. And it's beginning to develop a cynical twist on American society, and it's It's something we should all be paying attention to, you know? I've got another example of it right here. All right? I've got another example. And it's Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. This from USA Today. Listen carefully to what I'm about to read to you. This is the first paragraph of this article. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was rushed to the hospital Sunday for symptoms of an emergent bladder issue and admitted to the critical care unit less than a month after his previous secret stay at Walter Reed Military Medical Center. Did you hear it? Did you see it? Yeah, there is another name for the critical care unit. It's intensive care. He's back in intensive care. An emergent bladder issue. What did they do? I mean, okay, so he probably had a prostatectomy. In other words, they removed his prostate gland. And that is an incredibly painful process. It's an incredibly painful surgery. And obviously there's something even worse happening. Did somebody make a mistake? Did they damage his bladder, for example? Because those two organs are basically connected to each other. I don't know what's going on. All I know is I saw that man try to walk to a podium, and I was wincing in pain watching him walk. So he was taken back to Walter Reed by a security detail yesterday afternoon. This according to Air Force Major General Pat Ryder, the Pentagon press secretary. Just before 5 p.m., he transferred his authority to Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks. In a statement last night, Austin's doctors said they ran tests on Austin, admitted him to the critical care unit, intensive care, at Walter Reed for, quote, supportive care and close monitoring. This is the spin that people listen to, and it erodes the willingness for the American people to actually believe what they're hearing. At this time, it's not clear how long Secretary Austin will remain hospitalized, according to John Maddox and Gregory Chestnut, Austin's doctors. Unlike his previous hospitalization that began January 1st, Austin notified the White House, Congress, and Pentagon officials in a statement. Earlier yesterday, Ryder said that Austin had retained his authority, noting that he had secret communication systems necessary to perform his duties. Austin was taken by ambulance to Walter Reed January 1st. You know that story. But what we don't know is exactly what's going on with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. And we are concerned about him. And we indeed want him to be okay. And so, with that being said, our thoughts and prayers are with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin today. I wanted to tack on this as something at the end of the broadcast because, you know, these guys have had tough lives, all of them, especially soldiers. And when they suffer, we all suffer. And I don't care whether you believe in General Lloyd Austin's political policies or his policies as Secretary of Defense. He's still a man, and he's still somebody that is suffering today. And we hope that he is okay in the very near future. And so I just wanted to make absolutely sure that you realize that one of us is suffering today. And keep the thoughts, your thoughts of this great man in your mind today. I sure would appreciate it, I promise. Speaking of other people from the White House has promoted Admiral John Kirby to an expanded role in the communications department of the White House. It puts him in charge of coordinating communications across several agencies. Yeah, he was the top national security spokesperson. He has a new title. He'll be White House National Security Advisor. That elevates him from a deputy assistant to a direct assistant to the president. In the new role, Kirby will direct a small team separate from the National Security Council's press office. He will be in charge of coordinated communications for national security for several agencies. This guy is good. Now, he's gotten entrapped in political garbage, and yeah, it has hurt his reputation to a degree. But John Kirby is really good at what he does, and he deserves a stronger place in the White House. Now, I don't know where this puts Karine Jean-Pierre, but on a regular basis, John Kirby spends an awful lot of time behind the podium in the press office of the White House instead of Karine Jean-Pierre. Maybe it's because there's a dynamic there between the press corps of the White House and Karine Jean-Pierre that is not salvageable. The only thing you can do is manage it, and maybe he's a part of that management. We'll see if he continues that in his new role. Once again, sincere thoughts of quick recovery and a lack of pain for Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. This has been the Wells Report. John David Wells, thank you very much for joining us today. Don't forget that we're here. Make sure you hit the notification button. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Wells Report. All right, I'm back. Sorry I was gone. I sure hope you didn't forget me. Apparently you didn't. And thank you so much for giving me that break. Although, and by the way, I didn't break anything, but I did get punctured. Man, you ought to see my legs. I can't show them to you. But they look like, they look like polka dots. I got, yeah, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. So anyway, that being said, God bless all y'all. Take good care. Cowboy, good to see you. Let's see. KJP always looks like a bubblehead. That being said, she's held her own against the press regardless of how inane her comments are. Yeah. I mean, she does make bad things, and she twists fact to suit politics, and you really can't do that. What you got to do is, and she doesn't answer things that are when an official of the press corps, when one of the actual reporters nails you to the wall with a question, you got to answer it. You got to answer it truthfully, and she can't, and that destroys her credibility, at least in my view. It's good to be back, Ms. Yvonne. I love you. I love all of you, and thank you very much for this. But when I talk about those people that I did that class with, that was not a small deal. Those people are just the best. They're the salt of the earth. And they helped me achieve something. It's kind of an achievement. The commanding general of our brigade, I was on the phone with him yesterday. And he goes, you graduated SAR school? You graduated SAR school. What are you, 68? I go, no, I'm actually 66. Yeah. Anyway, so he said, what are you going to do next? You're going to go to jump school, which is where you learn how to become a paratrooper. No, but I would go to air assault school. That's where you ride into a place in a helicopter and then you rappel down. Because we did rappelling, and we did a rope bridge across a ravine. It was a long way down, actually. but what really got me was running around, in the middle of the night, uphill, down dale, broken ground, cactus. I didn't see any animals, but I sure heard them. We had a pack of coyotes that were singing to each other, and we ran across some pigs. I didn't, but some other people ran across pigs. Armadillos. We ran across those. No snakes because it was too cold, but let me tell you something, man. That was man's work. Notice I didn't say it was old man's work, but it was man's work. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I will see you again tomorrow on this broadcast. I'll have a question for you tomorrow about this show that I want to ask you about. So stand by for that, okay? God bless you and all yours. And I'll get back to taking pain medication, which is what I've been doing for the past few days. So take yourself to a wonderful place today. Be good to yourself, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow for another edition of The Wells Report.